Hi, my name is Max and this is Bean Talk Coffee News. Today with our 8th episode of our Coffee Masterclass, where we want to take you from an enthusiastic coffee beginner all the way to professional barista. And today I want to talk to you about a very, very important topic that often gets overlooked. Chances are you have an espresso machine, your coffee has tasted amazing for some time now, but suddenly it doesn't taste good anymore. It tastes like garbage. Then maybe it's not the fault of your skills as a barista or the coffee you're using, but maybe it's because your espresso machine is just dirty. So that's why I want to talk to you about how you should clean your espresso machine and maintain it so you always have a great tasting coffee and your machine is happy for years to come. Before we get going, I feel like making an espresso. So I'll make an espresso for now. Of course, to better explain to you how you should clean your machine, first we're gonna get it a little dirty. So while preparing my coffee, you might have already noticed a few things that I just do because by now it's just second nature to do these things. If you want a great tasting coffee, you have to have a very clean espresso machine. If it's dirty, the coffee is gonna taste dirty to some extent. To better understand how to clean your machine, let's have a look at what can be dirty. I mean, of course, you can have some fingerprints everywhere that I don't care too much about. Of course, I like to polish it. One big thing, of course, is the coffee. Then maybe if you haven't cleaned it out after making coffee, you have some coffee in your portafilter. And then, of course, it's not just gonna be in here, but you also have it here on the shower screen and also inside the machine. So let's give it a flush for now and come back later to it. And then we not only handle coffee with this machine, but also milk with the steam wand. Ideally, you shouldn't explain anymore, but of course, after you steam the milk, take a cloth and wipe it right away because milk burns quite easily and very fast. So if you don't clean it right afterwards and then steam again, and the steam wand gets hot, then the milk is sticking on the steam wand. And then it's a pain to get off. But other than that, even if you clean the steam wand properly every time, then at the end of the day, take off this tip, clean this, and also this thread, because often there's some milk residues here, especially if this O-ring is a little worn out, and then that's also not good for the taste and the hygiene, of course, if you have some old milk or maybe already butter on here. The portafilter, of course, if there's coffee inside or even after you made the coffee, always take it out. Get rid of the puck. And then also just wipe it clean with a cloth. But even now, the machine is not clean quite yet. So, for example, with this particular machine, because it's not connected to the water line, we have here our drip tray filled with water and coffee residues, which is also quite warm and so perfect for bacteria and mold to form here. And trust me, mold inside your espresso machine or the drip tray is just disgusting and can also smell bad. So also clean this out. And it's not enough to just get rid of the water every once in a while when it's full, but also give it a proper rinse. In order to have a clean coffee and a clean machine, we must especially focus on our coffee group, which is this part. We just have different things here. We have our shower screen And we also have a gasket here. So a gasket that could look like this, for example. So we just want to clean all of these parts. So first of what you can use is a brush like this, for example. So you can actually get the coffee off the gasket. So also make sure that you kind of have a little bit of an angle on the outside when you clean this. So you also get the outer parts. In order to prevent to have a very dirty shower screen, some machines have them screwed in, which is great because then you can remove it. With other machines, you have them like this, for example, where you actually stick it in together with the gasket, and then you actually can't get out unless you change the gasket as well. In this case, with this machine, because I always take care of my machines, this is super clean. So you can even clean the thread of the screw here. And then here we have our shower screen. So, and even though I clean it quite regularly, you see there's a little bit of dirt. You can just use a cloth and wipe this clean. If it's more, you can use some cleaning powder and put into a container with some hot water over half an hour or overnight, for example. There's even here on this part, there's some dirt. So again, you can just take a cloth and clean this. But yeah, this should, if you clean it regularly, this should be super clean. If not, it could look like this and you have some old oils that clog the machine. Therefore, can also break something, and it's just not an overall great taste in your coffee if you don't take care of this. So, if you want to clean your machine properly, also on the inside, you need some detergent, a blind filter, and you need to back flush your machine. And I will show you in a second here how this works. If you buy an espresso machine, usually you either get one of these rubber things here or proper blind filter. I personally prefer these just because it holds the pressure better, of course. What you do is you take out your filter, which is a great chance to clean this as well. Pop this in. If you don't have this, this just goes in here, just so there's some pressure building up and the water doesn't go through. We want to clean our machine now. You take some cleaning powder or detergent, put it in here. For household use, I would say don't use too much of the cleaning powder unless you make a whole lot of coffee. If it's a professional environment, you make hundreds of coffee per day, of course it's very important, but for households, you don't need that much powder. So what you can do now is back flushing. Either you can do this manually, which would be to insert this. You can also put some water in here before, so this can dissolve a little bit. So, if you would want to back flush manually, this would mean that you pressurize the system, meaning you make a coffee, and once you have a buildup in pressure, you stop it, and then the rest gets released through the third way of the solenoid valve. A little bit too complicated to explain everything right now, but anyways, this cleans the inside of your machine. Most household machines don't have a cleaning cycle program. However, this FAEMA Faemina, however, does. And now it does everything on its own, which is super handy. Otherwise, like I showed you before, the whole back flushing procedure, do it with detergent about 5 times with waiting a few seconds in between so it can actually dissolve in the back. And then also then empty the portafilter out. Do it again a couple of times and then just let it rinse a little bit. So to make sure there's no more detergent inside that could affect your coffee. While this is cleaning, I want to also briefly talk to you about cleaning powder. In this case, I'm using a Slayer cleaning powder that I had here in my studio, but there's a couple of different ones. But I usually recommend not getting the liquid ones, especially if they're super harsh. Even though they might clean your machine super clean at first, they could actually end up breaking it. And from my professional experience, I know there's some cleaners out there that if concentrated too much, they could even dissolve some tubes inside your machines, etc. What is also very, very important for the quality of your coffee and for the longevity of your espresso machine is the water. Make sure that you use filtered water for your espresso machine to make sure there's not too much lime in the water that could build up in your espresso machine, and then of course destroying some of the parts. For the Faemina, for example, we have filtered water here that we're using through a larger water filter, but otherwise it has this small filter from Brita that you can use, so you can just pour the water on top in your water tank and you always have filtered water. Meaning it just filters out most of the limestone, not everything, because of course we need some particles in there as well to make sure you have fun with your espresso machine for a long time to come, and to make sure the coffee tastes perfect. Use a water filter and also change it regularly. With the portafilter, what you can do is just take out the filter itself, and you can also rinse this just by placing it underneath your espresso machine, rinsing this, and then wipe it clean. And if you do this regularly for your household machine where you don't make too much coffee probably, this should keep it clean quite well. And then same goes for the portafilter. Just give it a rinse with the hot water. Clean it with a microfiber cloth. Of course, it can, especially if they're not made of stainless steel, it can happen that there are some coffee residues here. In that case, I would recommend that you put it in some kind of container, some metal or plastic container. Again, same as with the shower screen. Put some of your cleaning powder in there, cover it with hot water, and let it soak overnight, for example. To sum it up, how you should treat your machine and how to clean it, I would say definitely make sure that you wipe the steam wand and also the portafilter every time you use it. Just wipe it down, make sure you flush, and then, of course, depending on how much coffee you actually make with your espresso machine, according to that, you should clean the machine with detergent. For example, if you just make 1 or 2 espresso every day, then you probably don't have to use detergent every single day with the machine. But make sure to make it like once every week. And then also this down here, make sure you clean it out once a week properly so that there's no mold or something that can start growing. But yeah, if it's a more professional environment and you make hundreds of coffees every single day, then you should clean it properly every single day. It's simple as that. I hope you found this quite helpful on how to clean your machine and what you should do to maintain it in a good shape. And yeah, let me know down in the comments, how often do you clean your machine properly? That's it for today. If you like this video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.